Holy City Center Radio. It is episode 390, and I am your host, Christian Sanger. Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. What's up, all you saints and sinners? I hope you are doing well, whether you are here in the Holy City or beyond. Happy to be with you on this Friday. We've got a nice, easygoing show today. No politics, no drama, just a nice interview, something calm to get you into the weekend. And it's a really cool business that I'm talking about today with Darren Hartford. He owns the business. It's called Oliver Pluff and Company. It's a company based in Charleston, of course, and they are preserving the tradition of time-honored teas and early American coffee blends. They have some other products. He will explain all of that during the interview. But the long story short is that this is a company that, number one, is online, and links are in the show notes. But you can also now visit downtown on John Street, which is pretty cool. So, Darren makes this comparison about wine during the interview and how people who are wine connoisseurs and, they might be able to sip a certain type of wine and say, oh, this came from this country or, it's this type and so on and so forth. People who are like really into that stuff. And there's some people with coffee that are the same way. They can tell like, oh, these beans are from wherever and, so on and so forth. We don't think about tea in that way necessarily, but there are a lot of varieties. And in addition to that, there are some kind of more obscure in that, tea's not as popular here in America, as you all know, as it is, say, across the pond in other countries as well. And so there's a lot of varieties out there. And so in part, his company is finding some of those lesser known varieties, but it's not just that. It's also ones that have a significant historical story, whether, it's something we all know about, like the Boston Tea Party, for instance, or maybe something a little lesser known, but it's all about teas that were enjoyed, especially here in America, back when it was very, very popular and some things fell out of favor. So it's really interesting. It's always fun hearing about whether it's food, beverage, or whatever else, kind of doesn't completely disappear necessarily, but makes a little bit of a comeback. And then on top of that, it has a cool story behind it. And so that's, in a nutshell, what the company is finding these types of products that have a story behind them. And it's really unique and interesting. And, I gathered all that just from looking at the website, but hearing Darren talk about it, it's a lot more detailed than what I just said, of course, and he explains it better than I just did, even though I tried to sum it up as best as I could. And it's really cool. It's really interesting. I do want to stop by and check out the storefront. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy history, and especially if it involves Charleston in any way. It's always fascinating to keep learning little things like this. And so I think you'll certainly enjoy this episode, whether you're into tea or not. But don't forget, they have other products as well. If tea's not your thing, there's coffee, toddies, chocolate, and more. So something for everybody, I would think. And they all have that same kind of, hey, it's not only is this tasty thing, but there's a historical significance or a cool story behind it. So we learn a little bit about some of those products today, but there's plenty more you can explore on your own on the website or by stopping by the store. So without any further delay, let's get into the interview. And joining me now, as promised, is Darren Hartford, the owner of Oliver Pluff and Company. Very excited to learn more about this very unique company. Darren, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on, Christian.
Oh, of course. Happy to. Now, before we get into the company itself, I was just wondering if you could let our listeners know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your background, whatever you feel like sharing, just so they have a better idea of who you are before we dive into your current work.
Awesome. I grew up in a small town in Maine, joined the Air Force, went to the Air Force Academy, became a pilot. I served 28 years. Along the way, I grabbed my wife, Tina, and we had a couple of great kids. And being a smart man, when it was time to retire, Tina let me know she wanted to come back to Charleston. We'd been stationed here. And so we moved back here. They moved back in 2016, and I moved back in 2017 after my retirement from the National War College.
Nice. Well, first of all, thanks for your service. And you said that your wife wanted to move back here, so she's from here originally.
No, we had been stationed here in the early 2010s.
Ah,
Uh, I
okay,
was
gotcha.
I was wing commander out to the 437th Airlift Wing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now we know a little bit about your past, but let's talk about this company you have, Oliver Pluff and Company. How did it come to be? How did you end up owning it? What is this company all about?
So my version of the founding of the company is that the company founded to answer a couple of questions. What tea was thrown in the harbor for the Boston Tea Party,
Hmm.
and what they drank after they were done? So
Okay.
that's kind of where the company got its start in 2009. 2017, about the same time I got here, uh, the previous the founder of the company, the previous owner, had decided that he was getting a little burnt out and wanted to sell the company. So we went through the process, and spring of 2018, I bought the company.
What attracted you to the company? What made you want to own it and and take it over?
Uh, I liked the product. I liked the branding. I liked the story it was telling, and I liked the potential.
And at the top of the show, I talked a little bit about what the company is, and you've kind of alluded to it, mentioning the Boston Tea Party. But you could better describe what exactly the company is and what you all do. So, if you could go ahead and just let us all know what exactly does the company provide, and what makes it so unique compared to other brands that may sell similar products.
So the company tells a story of early American beverages, the teas, toddies, and coffee that our founding fathers and mothers enjoyed. Tea was the most popular drink outside of liquor in colonial America, and it was a sign of wealth. It was a sign of hospitality. There are stories of tea parties of the day were more like cocktail parties now. So it was a chance to gather. You didn't have all of the entertainment choices we have. So gathering in people's homes, playing games in the evening, just socializing. It was an art form, and tea was a solid part of that. Tea, coffee, and chocolate all were discovered about the same time in the 15 to 1600s. And so by the 1700s, the colonists, the people who were coming to America, they brought those traditions and those preferred drinks with them. And so that's kind of what we do. We tell the story of those beverages. We tell the story of Boohee tea, which was the most popular tea in colonial America. It was so popular, it was the nickname for tea. You'd walk into a tavern or walk into a place where you could get food and drink, and you'd ask for a cup of Boohee, and they'd serve you whatever they had in stock that day. There's
Oh, okay,
great
interesting.
yeah. So, and there are letters, and the letters that obviously all the letters that people can find about the founding fathers. You can look through some of those, and you'll see references in diaries as well as in correspondence of them talking about a lovely cup of hyson or this wonderful evening they had enjoying tea, charades, and a party at someone's house. It was just part of the social fabric of America, and we tell that story now.
And I think when people think of tea right now, they think of like these big name brands or whatever, and they're all kind of the same products. But there's a few different types, and there's some, I'm sure, some others that do a little bit more niche types. Are these? I know some of the products on that you can purchase through Oliver Pluff, like Earl Grey, for instance. That's something a name that people have heard before. But some of these other things, were they hard to find? Had they kind of fallen out of favor, or were they still being manufactured, or was it really a tough process to find some of these types that were popular back then?
So tea has been around for a few thousand years, and uh, the production areas of teas. We try to source our historical blends of teas, Buhi, Lapsang, Souchong, from the same regions that they sourced them back in the 1700s. So they fell out of favor in the United States. Buhi fell out of favor in the early 1800s. It started falling out of favor as other teas became available, as the trade with China, both as an independent country and Chinese trade with Europe, expanded. They expanded the offerings of tea that were available, and so people found different black teas besides Buhi to enjoy. So that's some of the progression of the drinks and why some of the our drinks that that my company sells, they had just fallen out of favor. You have to
Hmm.
remember that tea in the 1700s was probably at least 3 years, if not older, separated from its picking. And it was probably stored, it might have been in a lead line box, but it's probably just stored in a wooden box somewhere. So the aging process, and so the tea that people enjoyed wasn't the same as what we can do today. Like the teas I sell have all been picked probably within the past year of time they are picked and processed to the time they're getting sold. So they're a lot fresher. So things that fell out of favor because of changing tastes, they you go back to them now and they're like, wow, this is a really good tea.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of what we've done. So yes, everyone, there are lots of different tea varieties. Tea has a terroir similar to wine. If you're a wine connoisseur, you can probably tell me what part of France or what part of California or where a wine
Hmm.
comes from.
Sure, sure.
People who are very good at tea, I'm not there yet. I would love to be someday, but they could tell you a Chinese tea from an Indian tea, from a
Wow.
Kenyan tea, or even easily from a South Carolina tea, just because tea absorbs the atmospheric conditions around it as well as the minerals in the ground.
That's really interesting. And so obviously it seems like you pick products that have historical significance. That's clear. Is
Mhm.
there any what else does it take, for you to decide, hey, this is the type of beverage that we want to offer?
Uh, so it's about the story. That's most of my product line has a strong story to it. It's the branding, it's the imagery. We use a lot of historical imagery on our
Mm.
tins and on our labels, and we tell the story of either the imagery or the product in the tin. And so, what story do we want to tell? Like Whiskey Rebellion. I wanted to tell the story about the Whiskey Rebellion in U.S. history. And so I also had an idea that aging tea in a whiskey barrel uh,
Mm.
would be an interesting experiment. And it was.
Yeah.
It is a very good tea because tea is an absorbent. It absorbs the flavors and aroma that it's exposed to. So you age or tea in a whiskey barrel, and it'll pick up those flavors of the bourbon and of the wood and absorb it, and it becomes part of the tea. So it's how do you tell the story of a beverage that interests you? I'm looking at bringing Yopon. I had Yopon on my uh, as part of my product line for a while, and just didn't have interest. But there's growing interest in Yopon. It was the same tea that Francis Marion enjoyed as he was evading the British.
Mm,
It
okay.
was a holly bush that he they took the leaves and they brewed them, and so that's a product that I'm probably going to bring back because it does have a strong early American story and connection.
And for those who are listening, by the way, I haven't mentioned it yet, but whether you're in Charleston or not, you can order this online. But you also opened a storefront pretty recently, correct?
Yeah, end of May, beginning of June, we opened a storefront on 49 John Street. Where we've thanks to the joy of Google, people would find where my warehouse is and start keep stopping by to see if they could buy tea from me.
Sure.
And so we decided we wanted to help tell the story of tea as well as allow people to enjoy gifting tea and coffee and toddies. And so we created a storefront this spring. An opportunity came up at 49 John Street. And so taking a chance and jumping in there and helping share our story with visitors to Charleston as well as those people who are in the area who enjoy buying tea and coffee.
So I would imagine when you go into your store, just like any other store, you walk in, you see all the products, but as you keep referencing, if people want to learn more and hear a background, sounds like you could give them that entire, story as much as they want to know about the history of this product, what makes it different and special. And so it's a mix of, yeah, I'm going in here to get a tea that, I'm probably going to enjoy, but I'm also getting a little bit of a history lesson as well.
It's people want to know, they enjoy hearing the stuff. I think we all
Mm.
enjoy hearing the story of the products we're enjoying. We're also partnering with some local companies. A local lady who does pottery is making some mugs for us that we're offering. We're going to
Oh,
offer
nice.
classes on the history of tea. In end of July, beginning of August, we'll start while it's still hot out there. We'll offer a class on how to make iced tea and how you can make iced tea different ways, whether it's a cold brew or a sun tea or just a traditional southern tea, iced tea. Oh, we'll offer a class on that and we'll give a little bit of history, but also have fun and just kind of enjoy some wonderful products.
Yeah, that sounds great. You mentioned the mugs and obviously just now the classes. Are there any new or, upcoming products or other related, store events or something like the mugs or partnerships that you're particularly excited about? Anything on the horizon that you can, talk about right now?
Yeah, so besides classes, and we'll have a variety of classes coming up here this fall, and we'll sign up, we'll be in the store. We'll also start offering gift baskets where you can come in and we'll have some standard features to put in a gift basket if you wanted to give that person in your life who wants to begin to enjoy tea or already enjoys tea and you're just looking for something to give them. We'll offer a chance to put together a gift basket that will let you share your love of tea with those around you.
Very nice. And so we've talked about tea. You mentioned coffee, chocolate, iced tea, and toddies. Are there any other products that you haven't talked about yet that you also offer?
We also offer a wide selection of accessories, be it teapots, tea kettles, dish towels, and good old merch that you
Yeah,
can
of
get.
course.
But the filters, the cups, the mugs, those are all available in the store.
Very nice. Yeah, and you mentioned the design and things on the different packaging, and they are really unique looking, and they have historical significance, as you mentioned. They just have a really cool look. Something I sort of associate with Charleston, just with its history. With the American Revolution and Civil War and things. There's a lot of imagery that just I feel like I see around Charleston and other places that have a rich history. In those time frames, and yeah, everything looks really, really neat, and like you said, the packaging it makes it kind of special too.
Exactly. That's what we're going for. And Christian, I'd love to host you down in the store and maybe we can enjoy a cup of tea or a cup of toddy and just so you can explore a little more.
Absolutely, I would love to. And you mentioned where you're located, so people know when they're visiting Charleston that they can go there. They can also order online. What is the website, and are there any other plugs that you want people to visit, whether it's social media or whatever, so they can learn more about the company?
So the website is www.oliverpluff.com. Uh, that's Oliver, Oliver, Pluff, Pluff.com. That's the same handle for Instagram and Facebook. You'll find us on Oliver Pluff, either of those places, and have a couple of great folks who are doing posting for me, and they really help tell the story of the company and just the products that we offer.
And for those listening, I'll have the links in the show notes so you can click over nice and easy so you can go learn more. Darren, is there anything that I didn't ask you or we just, anything on your mind about the company that you want people to know that we just didn't get to in this short conversation?
No, we're just a local company that's trying to tell a story and help people enjoy great tea. I have joked before that I kind of consider myself a gateway to drug between people who are used to and thinking about like when I grew up, tea was that dusty product that was somewhere in the back of a cupboard
Yeah,
that your grandma might have enjoyed, and your parents never threw away the packets of tea.
right.
Well, you're ready to go beyond that, and you want to understand that tea has its own character, and every cup is its own little story to tell and a process. Same with coffee. That yeah, come visit us. We'll love to talk to you and help educate you. Or if you're a deep aficionado, come hear some of the new blends and try some new flavors. So love to visit with anyone who wants to stop by and say hello. Either myself or my store manager, Kara, would be happy to talk with you and help you on your tea journey.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a very unique business, certainly something unique to the Charleston area. I definitely want to stop in and see and learn more about these products. And like I said, anyone who's listening, links are in the show notes, so you can go visit the store in person and check it out. Darren, thank you so much for letting me know all about this company, Oliver Pluff and Company. I encourage everyone to learn more. And thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on. And again, I look forward to seeing you at the store, Christian.
Thank you so much to Darren for joining us today. I really appreciated him stopping by. It was awesome to learn more about Oliver Pluff and Company. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Be sure to check them out if you're interested. And if you need some plans this weekend, in addition to maybe stopping by that store, go to holycitycenter.com/calendar to find out what is going on in town. Before I say goodbye, I have to say thank you to all of you for listening, to Lindsay Marie Collins with LMC Soundsystem for producing this and every episode of Holy City Center Radio, and also to Tyler Boone, whose music you hear in each and every show. Have an amazing weekend. Try to stay cool in this heat and humidity. Maybe we'll get some more rain. We had some the morning that I'm recording this on Thursday. It looks like we might have some more on the way, so maybe that'll help cool off. But stay safe if they turn into thunderstorms, and regardless if you are going to be indoors or outdoors, the calendar on holycitycenter.com is where you can find events of all types. So be sure to check it out. But regardless, whatever you decide to do, I hope it's great. I hope you have fun. I hope the weekend doesn't go by too fast for you. And I'll be back with you next week. But until then, good night and good luck.